Pat, you bring up a great point. I'm not sure if you're cutting in and out, but you bring up a great point about what China is doing behind closed doors. Because the second that we left Afghanistan, I said on one of the podcasts, I said short term this is not a good look, but long term this will allow us to at least turn our focus onto what really matters, which is China. No doubt. I mean, I think we were in Afghanistan way too long. We could have got out of there 5-10 years ago and been in a way better position, saved $1 trillion. And we should have turned our attention to China. Whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, he at least rattled the cage of China and woke up a lot of the American public to say, hey, what the hell's going on here in China? So if there is conversations taking place behind closed doors between China and Russia, you brought up the example of, getting your ex-girlfriend back, Russia trying to get Ukraine back, and China getting Taiwan back. I'm actually proud or happy to see that Biden is not getting into a war of words or literal hot war over Ukraine. He has come out and he's expressed, we will not be sending troops to fight in Ukraine. We're backing up NATO. That's fine. I think at the end of the day, you think this is going to be a short-lived situation, short-lived war, whether that's weeks, whether that's months, what have you. We cannot afford to take our eye off the prize, our eye off the ball of what is happening with China. And as much as China is an enemy, we can't, not have them work with us on certain things, i.e. climate change, or whether it's trade or not. They're one of our largest trading partners, if not the largest. So this is a delicate line that Biden needs to balance. And Ukraine, yes, it's a major thing. It might be a blip on the radar, but he can't let that affect our relationship with China. You have thoughts on this, Tyler?
Well, and that's the big ticket, right? Is China and I mean, this is opening the door for Taiwan, right? I mean, Taiwan is next on the table. So, at what point does Biden actually step up and say, no, you cannot expand your borders like this? Because it's reminiscent of World War II when Hitler invaded Poland. I mean, these dictators and autocrats, they get more and more and more emboldened. When we pulled out of Afghanistan, like you said, Adam, the first person to swoop in was China and to sign a deal. And they now have $87 billion worth of military equipment, which normally wouldn't be a problem to Afghanistan and the Taliban operating it. But what I worry about is it being reverse engineered by the Chinese and by the Russians, and by them being able to build military weapons that can match ours. So at what point does Biden have to step in and stop letting these dictators and autocrats become more and more emboldened?
Look, let me read this to you. Here's an article from the Boston Globe, okay, how the U.S. brought China and Russia together, okay? 2 generations ago, President Nixon realized that the intensifying partnership between Moscow and Beijing could ultimately threaten the U.S. To prevent that, he launched what turned out to be a spectacularly successful effort to disrupt their partnership. Now we are doing the opposite, pushing China and Russia together. This month, the leaders of the 2 Eurasian behemoths signed a far-reaching joint statement that may end up shaping the 21st century. The new interstate relations between Russia and China are superior to political and military alliances of the Cold War era. Friendship between the 2 states has no limits. The implications of this accord are daunting to contemplate, especially now with Russia attacking Ukraine. Even though the U.S. remains the world's most powerful country, it's disconcerting to see the 2 next most powerful countries joining together. That's what I was talking about earlier. Worst of all, we brought it on ourselves. Bashing China and Russia for years was certain to turn them into partners. At some point, it just happened. The world turned. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping signed the joint statement at an elaborate ceremony before the opening of the Winter Olympics in Beijing. This just happened. They pledged to promote redistribution of power in the world, and specifically to support each other's foreign policy priorities. For Russia, an end to NATO expansion, and for China, reunification with Taiwan. As the new China-Russia partnership was being unveiled, Putin called it a relationship that will probably cannot be compared to anything in the world. And I agree, for Americans to ignore, it would be foolish. Continuing to antagonize the immense bloc would be even worse. If we cannot accommodate the changing world, it may leave us behind. So look, whether this guy who's got an opinion here to say, let's not say anything bad about them, you have to be naive to not stand up to the enemy either and just kind of look the other way. You cannot do that. I don't think you can seem weak in a situation like this. But U.S. has got to kind of get some powerful, other countries to come with us to go up against these guys, because these are the two. I don't know how to explain this. It's the ultimate powerhouse super team being put together, except it's two countries. Two of the top 3 countries in the world are coming together. So
Well, Pat,
this is a real threat. The world has to pay very close attention to this.
Let's play that game for a second. I mean, we just saw the NBA All-Star Game as an example. It was team LeBron versus team Durant, and they had basically a draft, right? LeBron picked Giannis first, and then Durant picked Embiid, so on and so forth. So if you're having a worldwide draft of countries and China and Russia align, who else is major that is on their side? Because if you look at the list, U.S. has Canada, the U.K., France, Italy, basically everyone in the EU, Brazil, Australia, Japan, South Korea. You go down the list, bang, 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 bang. U.S., other than China and Russia, would have all the heavyweights on their team. What other heavyweights are on team China, Russia? Who? Iran? Who else? Like, if you're doing this draft, who else is on their side?
All the true believers are on each other's side. You have to realize a lot of the other guys are more vanilla. Not saying we're vanilla. In America, look at America right now. Americans are at each other's throat. America in the last couple of years during COVID, while during 9/11 we united, during COVID we were divided. Because rather than making China the enemy, Democrats made Trump the enemy, and that divided America. That made Democrats hate Republicans. Republicans hate Democrats. Not everybody, but it became that antagonistic. Dinners were being canceled because family members couldn't have a basic civil conversation together. But why? Because we were at each other's throat. When's the last time you heard about media in China that they're at each other's throat? How about in Iran? How about in Russia? Those 3 countries? No.
They don't allow media in China or in Iran.
You're not, but you're talking about 3 countries that hate America. They hate America, and they keep recruiting other countries that also hate America. So this next phase, the concern I have with the system that we have in America is each president comes with a different agenda, and it changes every 4 to 8 years. So we can't really create a lot of momentum. There's a lot of division. It's hard to create momentum to create a unified enemy, while the other guys keep their enemies unified. So anyways, look, I'm always optimistic about what the future looks like, because I think the American people have overcome a lot of different challenges. All I'm saying is the next 15 moves America makes has to be we have to be united on this issue. It would be great to see Trump and Biden right now in this issue coming together. It would be great to see a lot of our leaders in US coming together saying, hey, look, we don't agree on taxes. We don't agree on XYZ. We don't agree. We don't even like each other, but we love America more than we love our ego. And we want to let you know, America is more important to us than China, Russia, Ukraine, anybody else. This is our land first. We love this country. This is the greatest country in the world. America needs something like that to scare the crap out of everybody else out there. But America right now keeps getting weaker and weaker and weaker because we don't look united.